Hey YouTube, I got this in a trade just the other night. This is a Line 6 micro spider, and if you look at that sticker on the front there, which is still on it, you can see it does some cool things. It's got 4 famous Spider 3 amp models, acoustic amp model, 6 smart control FX 2 at a time, feature rich portability, 6 watts, which is it's the 6 watts. Jesus, it's the loudest 6 watts in the universe, I think. It's got a built-in tuner, battery powered, got a mic in, CD input, a power adapter. Yeah, so I got this in trade for one of the last Iron Brew guitar. Traded me in a guitar and a wee Line 6 amp, and it was like, I didn't know which model of Line 6 it was, but I figured I hear an awful lot of stuff about Line 6, and an awful lot of folks slag them off online. You know, it's like pure Line 6 Spider. So I wasn't expecting it to be a battery operated amp though, so I was thinking, oh, I'll do a review of that and then sell it on, and I'll tell you why that's maybe not going to be the case. Yeah, so there we go. So what we've got is, on the front we've got the 4 amp models, these buttons here, which are clean, crunch, metal and insane. On the top there's 2 effects unit things, and then you've got a mic input there with its own volume control and a built-in tuner. Yep, so I'll turn it on and make some noise with it. I actually did a video for this yesterday, but that was before I'd actually read the manual and worked out how to use it. It does a few things, but it does them really well. I'll use this BC Rich just because. Not really a good reason for using a BC Rich, but that's what we use. So, and it goes, and it's on. Yeah. So, basically to switch between the 4 channels, you just get these 4 orange buttons in the front, which I hope you can see in the video there, pretty easy. Yeah, so the clean channel it's like a model of, I think it's a Fender Twin, something like that. And see, to set it, right, the master volume on the end is the master volume, so it's always just what it is. The other dials are all, I used to have a synth that did this. They're not real knobs, if you know what I mean. It's like as soon as you touch it, it'll change so the settings of these knobs can be programmed in. So if you listen to this, what I noticed there is, if you look at, I'll use the effects as an example. I've got reverb on it, but also there's a pulsing tremolo. So that's using one of these. So what you do is you adjust the different effects, right? So there we go, chorus and flange. Turn off the reverb, right? So there's chorus and flange, and there's a phaser. Then there's the tremolo. Yeah, so if you don't want any effects on, so that's me turned off the reverb and the tremolo. If you hold in the button, well in this case I'm in the clean channel, you hold it in for like 3 seconds or something, it flashes and that's it. Next time you go back to that channel, it'll have no effects on it. And that works for any of the things, so if you want, so you can set the volumes between all the channels to do what they do pretty easily. In fact, I was actually thinking I quite like having reverb on it, because it's quite good. Just because it's clean. In fact, I'll go to single coils, that's why I was using this guitar. Quite a nice amount of reverb, so if I just hold that in there, beep beep beep, there we go. And that's pretty easy, that's like within the realms of programming that I can handle. all the channels have your drive, bass, mid and treb, and then a channel, sort of master volume for that channel, which you can all set to whatever you want it to be. But that's a pretty good sounding clean sound, especially this is a BC Rich. Right, and I have had a wee bit of messing about with these. So the way I've kind of set up the crunch channel, I believe if you look up the manual, it's only like 2 pages. It will tell you what the models are. I think the crunch is a Marshall super lead, 100 watt super lead or something like that. So go on to that. So I mean, I'm just kind of setting that up as, I mean, you can drive that up, make it much more distorted than that. But I figured if you've got 4 stages, well, clean. This is the sort of slightly rocking. Then the next one's more rocking. It's metal, which I believe is a Mesa Boogie clone or something like that, which isn't actually a bad approximation of what the sound I've normally used with the rap pedal. So look at there, that's a wee bit. Insane, which is I think it's described in the manual as just as distorted as you can get without exploding. So I've kind of got that set up sort of like a fuzz pedal or something. Turn the volume down a little bit and then save it, just to try and get a better gap between rock and then. So I'll just set it. I think these are sort of things, and that's yeah, that's pretty distorted. Yeah, so I mean, I think the plan is when you get one of these, you just set up the 4 sounds to approximately what you like, and you can tweak them, whatever you do. As I said there, with the crunch, the knobs, obviously the position that they're looking at isn't necessarily what the position they're at in the brain. So you find that if I touch the bass, for example, that bass knob is up full bung. So if I touch it, it immediately disconnects the bass. That wasn't a good example when to turn, was it? Okay, I'll use the gain one, right? So that's on the crunch channel with the gain up at full. So if I go into metal and then go back to the crunch, even though the knob is now at full, physically inside it's still at the way I'd set it previously. So if I turn the gain down, you can hear it get really loud there. That's because as soon as you start moving it, it becomes a knob again. I think I made that sound an awful lot more confusing than it actually is, but it's not. And so that works for that, and it works for the effects as well. And in the effects, you get chorus flange, all one word, phaser and tremolo, so you can have either one of, you can have any one of them on, and whatever you've got it set to, you can save it into the memory. And as well as that, you can have the other effects unit, which is sweep echo, tape echo, and reverb. So you can have that set separately to that and source to anything. I don't have any effects on any of these ones, but I do have reverb, which you saw me do on the Clean channel. There's also a tap tempo thing on it, which I assume is for if I go into trend or music did the crunch channel. Sweep echo sounded a bit. I don't really know how you could use this. Kind of goes mwah, mwah. I wonder if I tap that. Yeah, so you can change the speed of whatever it is it's doing. So you've only got like one. The knob kind of runs through, it does the echo, the tape echo and the reverb, so it's kind of like between 1 and a third. You know, 1 is off and then a third is a full, the sweep echo at maximum, then it goes back to 0 again for tape echo, and then it goes up to 2/3, and then at 2/3 it becomes reverb. So you can a wee bit of messing about to do, and certainly an introduction to pedals. I don't want that. What tape echoes like actually. I just remembered how fast I was tapping it. I slower tapped. Don't like echo either. And you hold in the wee button that I said was for tap there, which gives you a tuner, which it's just a pretty basic tuner. It actually seems to be quite a very accurate tuner. So it just basically all it does is, you're not going to see it in that video, it's just got like a 2 wee red lights and a green light, and the letter tells you what, it's an automatic one, so it tells you what note it is. Then you get a wee red light for being too low, and then you turn it up until you get a wee green light, and then if you turn it up too high you get a wee red light and the sharp. Yeah. Then you hold it in for 2 seconds again, and it turns it off and puts it back onto the amp. Right, that's pretty much that what it was. I mean, I was kind of interested in the Line 6 idea, you know, because everyone slags them off and the whole guitar modelling concept. But the thing that really makes me interested is the fact it's battery operated. It runs on sort of middle-sized batteries. If you're of my age, it's the batteries the Millennium Falcon and the Snowspeeder used to take, as opposed to like Walkman size and then ATAT batteries. So they're like, I can't remember what the actual number is. You know, the ones bigger than Walkman, but not the big ones. It runs on 6 of them, I think, and I'm hoping, or I assume that it's the same volume. I mean, I'm running it on a power adapter just now, but I mean, I assume it's the same volume when you play it on the batteries. But what this does do, which is ridiculous, is volume for what it is, because I mean, that's pretty much at the volume. I'm actually noticing a wee bit, see, because I've got it down there. I would, if I was going to be my main amp, I would have it there. That's the big difference with this amp. See, when you can actually, the speaker sound actually comes into your ears. You can hear it so much better than if it's there, because obviously that speaker's kind of here, or where you are, it probably sounds pretty good, but it's not so good here. It sounds better, you know, if you're within the range, the in direct contact with the speaker. Direct contact, you know, if you imagine sound coming out like a cone, you want to be in that. But so that's the volume at like 2. I'd imagine that's probably blown the speaker out, but it really is incredibly loud for like a battery operated amp. I mean, you could easily busk with this without you going through any sort of desperate. And that's me not even maxing out the gains or anything like that, because obviously you've got a channel volume, which I've got set pretty low anyway, and a gain. So if you've got both of them up, you can have it up at absolutely mind-blowing volume for what it is. I actually had it. I was in the studio the other night, and I was early because I was doing the deal swapping for the guitar for the amp. I was half an hour early, so I took that into the studio and I had it up at full bung, and wow, was it noisy. Not noisy, I mean, why was it loud? In fact, no, I wasn't going to use that bass. But the other thing I was going to say now, I said acoustic amp thing was on the sticker. Well, I thought acoustic, it's going to be like an acoustic simulator, and it really wasn't that impressive. I was like, that just doesn't sound like an acoustic at all. That's because it's not an acoustic simulator, it's an acoustic amp simulator. So what an acoustic amp is basically sort of more like a PA or a bass amp. So in order to get to the, it's like a sort of a fourth channel sort of thing. If you hold down the crunch and the metal buttons, press them both at the same time, you go into acoustic amp mode. And if you use acoustic amp mode, thus you can play the bass through it, and it sounds brilliant on the bass. If I compare that to what this is me coming through the clean amp, which is what you would normally play a bass through, that's what you would expect. But when you put it, because you've got your whole new EQ set and stuff for the acoustic amp, and I'd imagine it must be full range as well, rather than being, you know, guitar amp centered. It's a really good bass amp. Volume. Actually, I had my power around the other day before I realised that it had that acoustic amp thing on it yesterday, and we were both playing through it, and I was just using the microphone input for the bass, which is there, which actually it sounds acceptable. You don't get any EQ on the mic input, just use the bass for the amp. Which works quite well, but the thing about that is though, it means you can plug the guitar in as well. So me and my pal were playing a Hawkwind song. Both of us, he was playing my Wee V and I was playing that, both into the same, running on batteries amp, and it was good enough for busking, I would have said, with the two of them. I'm just going to stick my Wee V in because that's what I would be using when I'm doing it portable like. Yep, so I'll run it through the tuner because this hasn't been played since yesterday. It's been in a bag. So this is what the guitar my travel guitar I use for camping and the likes. Which I've been using through this wee pocket amp there, which actually it's good for because you can actually walk about with that stuck into your pocket. Just it's got a clip in the back, just hanging out your pocket, and then you're fully mobile, which is great. but I mean it just can't compete with it. Even just the volume output of this thing is absolutely. Try saying. And that's it, a volume 2. Fun. So, I am mighty impressed with the amp. I'll not be joining in on the Gear Snobs online, slagging off your Line 6 Spider. I don't think I would be as impressed if it had been like an amp rather than a battery powered amp, but the fact it's battery powered and just the volume it does and the fact it can handle the bass really just puts it a league above like the ones I've been, you know, something like the Black Star Fly, which is a fantastic sounding little amp for what it is. And okay, it's very small. Not as small as the one that fits in my pocket, but I mean it's still small. Speaker size means a lot. This is probably a better amp, but just having a slightly bigger speaker just gives it that much more volume. And that thing, see, when you've got it up, and I had it up there quite loud, it sounds really good. It sounds much better loud than it does quiet. I don't think you get away with gigging it. I had it in the studio, I was sitting there going, you know, it's like, because I had it pretty much cranked up, and it really was uncomfortably loud. Really, I think you'd almost see if you were at a gig, like playing along with drums and stuff like that, and your amp blew up, but you had one of these. I reckon if you run that and you took the line out to go through the desk, you could definitely use that as a monitor and it would sound fine. The output on it says it's a recording out, which I think is like an emulated. I'm sure it said if you read the manual. I mean, the manual's pretty good. It's only 2 pages long and it makes it sound dead easy. I was a wee bit scared off with the fact that these buttons, you know, bypass these knobs, and it's like, oh, that's all scary stuff, but it's not. I think that's pretty much me. Oh, the acoustic amp simulator. Obviously, I was running the bass through it there, but that would be for sticking an acoustic guitar into. Whereas I misread that because I was playing it thinking it's not very impressive. You're thinking that, you know, you get your acoustic simulator pedals. I think I'm pretty sure your big effects units have got like an acoustic sim on it, so you can play an electric guitar and it sounds like an acoustic guitar. So that'd be an acoustic guitar model, not an acoustic guitar amp model. So that would be for if you were sticking like a, you were busking, you're sticking your electroacoustic in there, and perhaps even singing through it. You really start thinking, I reckon you could quite comfortably. Anyway, well, it is a busking amp. I think it's actually very like a Roland cube. I think Roland cubes are a bit like that. I just never bought one because they were always a bit expensive. You know, I was looking for something to, you know, to take camping, so I'm not wanting to spend, you know, £100 on an amp that might get stood on or burnt or fall in the lock or whatever. That's why I still like one like that. But in saying that, I still like this wee thing because it's so crap. It really does. It sounds like a wasp in a jam jar, but it's just because it's so silly, and you just stick it in your pocket and you can walk about, and it's, you know, there's so little to it. So I'm not going to get rid of that. That's actually very similar to the Marshall MS. I had the 2-stack one. Is it an MS2 it's called? Or maybe an MS1 is a wee one. It's basically the same amp but in a different size container. I've also got this amp here which I was going to keep. Another wee battery amp. I don't know where all these battery amps are coming from. For years I wanted a battery amp. But this one has a slightly bigger speaker, so it's pretty good. But again, you're losing that ability to stick it in your pocket. So I don't really know what to do with these. Or maybe do a wee shootout. But I mean, the thing is that it's a completely different beast. Mind you, suppose the wee black star. The wee black star would be more for, see if you had like you could totally comfortably use that in the house and have that, say, in your living room or something like that. You know what I mean? And just play it, and it sounds really good at really quiet volumes. But it's not so much for cranking up and playing around with your mates as much as something like that. Something like that is just basically a proper amp. So I'm ultimately super impressed with it. No, I'm not going to use a Line 6 spider instead of an old tube Laney, because I mean, let's be honest, okay, it's not that much smaller than that, but I mean, it's not the same league of things. But that you can't run something like this on batteries, and also it's heavy and expensive and all these things. This is totally fine. It's totally fine. And it's like the fact it's got the 4 sounds on it. The one thing I would have suggested to Line 6 or whatever, a foot pedal would be nice to change between the 4 thingies, because that would give you, because what you could use, you could set, even if you set like 2 of them sort of similar, so you could set crunch and metal, you know, sort of put the gain up a bit on the crunch and down a bit in the metal to get them both sounding similar, and you could have one of them with chorus on it, for example. So if you obviously you can still press the button to switch, it would be nice to have, like, so you could have your guitar on the chorus bit and then stomp on it to change to the one that you put chorus on, and you'd be able to actually just like have remote control pedals. It just seems like not that difficult a thing they could have done to have a separate foot pedal. But I'd imagine the big any big line 6s would have that exact foot pedal. But so you'd have thought that even less, they don't need to make a specific pedal. You could just have had a foot pedal in on this, would have been cool. But you know, it's not that difficult to just press the button between the 2, between the 4 or between the 5 even. Yeah, so I'm impressed with it. It was, as I said, it was going to be going straight onto the Facebook page for sale, but not just now. It's too good. It's too handy. I've actually got a wee Joyo bass amp that I bought, which I was mighty impressed with. If you look back at my videos, I think it was about 40 quid new, and it was a smashing wee bass amp, but it was nothing like the volume of this. I mean, it says 6 watts on it, but 6 watts doesn't cover it. I mean, this absolutely blows away, you know, your wee 10 watt BB Blaster type amps. It's louder than them. So I don't know how the 6 watts or maybe modern watts are more efficient or something like that, or maybe, you know, whatever it is, it's got a more efficient speaker. But it's rocking.